Well, today we are at the beautiful Sunstone Vineyard and Winery. Just gorgeous facility here. And our first tasting today is a Sauvignon Blanc. So, very crisp, maybe a little bit of apple and grapefruit in this. Apple. Apple is, I think, what I get off of this. Oh, that is exactly what I expected. A Sauvignon Blanc, very crisp, clean tasting, very young green apple even is what I'm getting off of this. It's just really, as I said, exactly what I would expect from a Sauvignon Blanc. So, Sunstone Winery, Sauvignon Blanc. All right, our second wine today here at Sunstone Winery and Vineyard is a 2018 Chardonnay. A much more floral bouquet on this, with a hint of maybe lemon. This is a very refreshing Chardonnay. You don't get a lot of the grapefruit that I sometimes get on a Chardonnay. There's not a real buttery finish. It's very crisp, very refreshing. Trying to pick out almost melon. Almost melon I'm getting on the palate, but very nice. So anyway, very refreshing Chardonnay. It's not the really buttery, California Chardonnay with a buttery finish, but really very, very nice. So Sunstone 2018 Chardonnay. We've switched to red wine here at Sunstone Winery. And our first one is kind of a non-traditional blend. They call it their 2018 Life and Sun. And it is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon with Grenache, Syrah, and Cabernet Franc. So very interesting to see how this is, where you have those Rhone varietals of the Grenache and the Syrah, coupled with the Bordeaux varietals of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. So this is Sun and Life. Oh, you can really get the fruit off of this. Berries. I would say blackberry myself. I would say there are some mild tannins on this. It's not real heavy on the tannin, but there's enough there. It says to me that, if we lay this down for maybe 7 to 10 years, that this is really going to come into its prime. I do get some big berry flavors. I get blackberry on this more than anything else. Very round in the mouth. Like I said, mild tannins, not light, but mild tannins. and something that should be really, really good. I'd say anywhere from 2025 to 2030 is when I'd want to open this up and think that it would be in its peak. But what do I know? Anyway, 2018 Sun and Life. This was not on our list, but it sounds interesting anyway. Again, non-traditional. This is called Via Soleil, and it is Merlot primarily, and also some Syrah. And so again, we've got a little bit of the Bordeaux and a little bit of the Rhone varietals. And they also mentioned that this was the only wine that they stomp. So does that mean that you're... Never mind, I won't go there. The Via Soleil. So black currant, I think, on the nose. Quite a bit of fruit, though. Nice, rounded. You have that smoothness that's typical of the Merlot. Not a lot of tannins as well. And the Syrah boosts up, I think, those upper notes a little bit. So it's not quite the lower tones, the deeper flavors of the Merlot. It's balanced very nicely with the Syrah. So really outstanding. Via Soleil. Next, we have a 2018 Cabernet Sauvignon. It is 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. So, beautiful color. Especially you get a little bit of sun. Just that beautiful burgundy color. There's some earthiness to this one. Earthiness and maybe black cherry. No, I think it's more of a fruit, raspberry to blackberry. That's very nice. There are some tannins there that will hold up over time and add some complexity to it. We've got that blackberry flavor to it that gives it a little bit of depth, but it's still very fruity. You can open this now, but I think that if you give this a little bit of time, it's going to be even better. So this is their 2018 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. So next we have a 100% Mourvedre, 2019 vintage on this, so it's only about a year in the bottle. Our server already told us, and I absolutely agree about the leatheriness on the nose. That is absolutely pronounced. Would I have been able to pick that out had she not mentioned it? That's another question entirely. But it's certainly there. And yet once you get it in your mouth, it is a very bright, very fruit forward. I'm getting a little bit of tannins, but not much at all. And I would say that this is kind of in the cherry range of flavors, maybe black cherry or something like that. Maybe just a regular cherry. Not a black cherry might be a little bit deeper than this, but cherry would be what I get most pronounced on this. So Mourvedre normally is not going to be something that is served by itself. It's normally blended with the other Rhone varietals, Grenache and Syrah. But this really is standing up by its own. So here's our 2019 Mourvedre. All right, we've gone off list again. This is one that they just released probably about a month ago. This is a classic Bordeaux blend. So we've got Cabernet Sauvignon, we've got Merlot, and they call it Eros. And so let's give this a whirl. Very floral with hints of a hint of cherry in the nose. I'm getting blackcurrant, moderate tannins on this, so again, let this sit a little bit, but a lot of flavor to it. A lot of flavor in the mouth. So, thumbs up again for Eros here at Sunstone Winery. Next here at Sunstone Winery and Vineyards is their 100% Merlot. This is a 2018 Reserve Merlot. So let's give this a swirl. It even smells smooth. That's a wonderful floral bouquet, maybe raspberry on this. You know, just like you would expect with a Merlot, very smooth, but there is you do get a little bit of tannin off of this, more than I often will get on a Merlot. And I'm getting, you know, some ripe berries, kind of in that raspberry range. Really nice. That tannin should give it a few years before it really comes into its own. But this is really a very, very nice Merlot. And more substantial than a lot of Merlots with that tannin that we're getting a little bit from it. So, 2018 Reserve Merlot. We now have a 2018 Founders Reserve. This is a blend of 80% Merlot and 20% Cabernet Franc. So, whereas most of the time you blend Merlot with Cabernet Sauvignon and you have that depth and the deeper flavors from the Cabernet Sauvignon, this one I'm expecting to be a little bit lighter from the Cabernet Franc. So we'll give this a swirl. Notes of cherry, oak, Alright, I'm getting some tannins on the finish, but they're very subdued. And you really, when it first hits your palate, you really don't get the tannins much at all. They're there at the end though, so again, lay this aside for a few years and it'll be even better. But this is really lovely. I'm getting notes of darker cherry and some oak. Really quite a lovely wine. So once again, the Founders Reserve, 80% Merlot, 20% Cabernet Franc, Sunstone Winery and Vineyard.